A report by the tech outlet titled, The Kenyan Startup Ecosystem Report, indicated that Kenyan tech startups are the most gender-inclusive, with women forming part of the founding teams behind 55 companies. With the figure, Kenya beat other tech startup powerhouses including Egypt, Nigeria, and South Africa, in terms of female representation. 55 to 17.9% of Kenyan tech startups have at least one woman on their founding team, making the country more diverse than the Big Four and ecosystems of Egypt, Nigeria, and South Africa, read the report in part. Continent-wide, the report also showed that the recruitment and human resources sector recorded the highest number of women-led startups, totaling to 10. The report further stated that female CEOs founded companies majorly in the recruitment and HR space, which made up to 6.2% of Kenyan startups based in Nairobi. And perhaps the most notable statistic about this segment is the high prevalence of female founders at 8 companies, 42.1%, which is significantly higher than the Kenyan ecosystem average, and stated the report. The report additionally states that there are also more female founders in the e-commerce and retail tech space, with 6 startups headed up by female founders, 20.7%. The volumes and prices, however, are still far lower than what male founders have raised in the vibrant startup environment on the continent. And with over 80% of ventures solely male-founded, there is clearly work to be done to ensure more women become leaders within the country's startup landscape, and the report read in part. A previous report by Africa, The Big Deal, noted that in 2021, the share of investments going to female-owned tech startups was around 6.5%, which meant that only Cash 120 out of every Cash 2000 raised in the African startup ecosystem went to female-owned tech companies. According to the report, some factors making it difficult for female founders to attract investments include investor biases and beliefs that women-led ventures are a riskier bet, as well as fewer women getting involved in the incubation programs. Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Startups and SME Enablers of Kenya, ASSEK, Mercy Kamalat, affirmed the statement, stating, "Women founders are more often than not drawn to sectors such as health tech, edtech, and sustainable technology, which do not always receive large amounts of investment." Kamalat added that finding female founders who join acceleration programs is often difficult because they are more concerned with job security. She explained that STEM programs, which have the largest amount of funding, have low female enrollment. Most of these female-owned startups are concentrated in non-fintech sectors, which partly explains why they are attracting less funding, Kamalat added. Another report named, In Search of Equity, Exploring Africa's Gender Gap in Startup Finance, noted that female-led startups are also less likely to be pitched for equity financing due to their lack of confidence in their ability to pitch investors on their ventures' growth prospects. Instead, the majority of them take various financing routes, with a preference for bank loans and retained earnings. And this disparity exists despite the fact that women entrepreneurs in the sample were more educated, had the same amount of professional experience as male founders, and experienced comparable revenue changes in the previous year, and the report noted. The Disrupt Africa report, however, noted that the newer generation of startups were more likely to be female-founded. Though the newer generation of startups are more likely to be female-founded, and a handful of venture capital firms are especially focused on backing female entrepreneurs, with over 80% of ventures solely male-founded, there is clearly work to be done to ensure more women become leaders within the country's startup landscape, the report stated. 2022 CNN Hero of the Year. Nelly Shaboy is an example of a Kenyan tech startup CEO. Shaboy co-founded technologically literate Africa, TechLit Africa, a company that uses recycled computers to create tech labs in schools. Serving it as CEO,